Hello everyone, my name's Matt and I'll be starting us off talking about emerging attacks on Android devices. So what we're going to cover in this presentation is four main attacks: spyware, man-in-the-middle attacks, rooting and sideloading attacks, as well as social engineering. All right, so what is spyware? Spyware is a computer software that tracks and monitors a user's device, generally without the user's knowledge or consent. So there are many types of spyware, but we'll be focusing on illegal ones today. So those are Trojans, which is any piece of malware that hides its true intent; keyloggers, which detects and monitors key inputs; stalkerware, which tracks location; and system monitors, which monitors everything happening on a device, including SMS, phone calls, etc. All right, so what's the threat of spyware? So it has the potential to compromise confidentiality and potentially the integrity of a system. So we're going to look at a case study today of a system update app. It's installed outside of the Google Play Marketplace, which is the biggest red flag for potential malware. It is a Trojan system monitor. It also could be classified under stalkerware too. So it masquerades as a Google-based app called System Update, and it monitors data, sending it to their servers. It does this by reducing its uploads of images and stuff to thumbnails so that it can remain undetected. It won't make too much noise on the network. It does provide some backdoor access to the device, taking photos, all sorts of stuff, a host of commands you can execute. And it does not require physical access to the device to install because it utilizes social engineering techniques. All right, so here's an example of the System Update app and how it's used. So it uses a Firebase Messenger server to send data over HTTP post requests, which you can see on the right there. That's an intercepted HTTP post request on Burp Suite. And the malicious user sends a Firebase command to the server, which then gets forwarded to the victim's device. The victim's device will execute the command, but all the victim will see is a searching for update notification on the device, which means that it's interacting over the network. And then the appropriate data as per the command is sent to the Firebase dedicated server. So what are the current defense mechanisms in place for things like this? So there's Google Play Protect, which is an AI detection methodology. It's the primary means of pre-installed detection for applications on Android. It does rigorous testing for applications going through Google Play Marketplace, which Google Play Protect is involved with. It does have limitations though when detecting malware already installed. So you saw the other System Update was installed outside of the marketplace. So obviously the marketplace testing was not done. So an AV test was conducted with 20,000 malware applications installed on a device, and Google Play Protect only detected 2/3 of this, which is concerning for its detection methodology. And even if spyware is detected, it usually requires a factory reset to be completely removed. So it also uses sandboxing, which is a permission-based security system. It doesn't allow applications to interact with other applications. And this also has a static detection methodology in the internal sandbox, but this again is limited in similar ways as Google Play Protect. So we've got some possible solutions here to the detection methodology outside of Google Play Marketplace. So we've got Blade here, which is a AI-based detection methodology used to detect malware that utilizes obfuscation. Obfuscation is just the jumbling and trying to mix up source code so that it's unreadable to someone. So it may not be detected for heuristic signature-based detection. What Blade does is it establishes an opcode segmentation, which is just the operational instructions from the source code without actually executing it. And then it extracts features to determine attributes related to malware, if it is malware, that is. So you can see that on the right here in the image. Other possible solutions for non-obfuscation focused detecting, there is machine learning defense framework proposed by Rathor et al. and that focuses on the permissions and sandbox system. So this system runs applications through malware detection models and algorithms in a similar way to Blade, but less focused on the feature-based opcode segmentation. And it gathers knowledge to develop new heuristic measures and patterns, and can be run like other antivirus for detection of applications installed outside of the marketplace.
Myself Priyanka Luhar, and I am presenting Man in the Middle attack, one of the crucial threat on mobile platform, where a third party intercepts communication between two communicators. The attacker can use unsecure public Wi-Fi to get into the system and modify users' essential information. In some cases, an attacker may include malicious proxy code between the communication to track and airdrops on communication network traffic. There are many ways to perform man in the middle attack using unsecure public Wi-Fi, such as HTTPS spoofing, ARP cache poisoning, DNS cache poisoning, Wi-Fi airdropping, session hijacking, etc. Most of the man-in-the-middle attacks follow a straightforward order of operations regardless of any specific techniques. For example, there are three entities: sender, receiver, and attacker. Attacker keeps eye on a channel where the sender and receiver are communicating. Here, sender sends some messages to the receiver, and attacker intercepts and read the sender's message without knowing of sender and receiver. At that time, the attacker does whatever he wants, like modifying the sender's message and sending them to the receiver. In some cases, the attacker blocks the whole communication channel or change the communication network traffic path. It can be challenging to catch an attacker in a man in the middle attack, but we can use a few steps to detect the malicious activities on the network. So first of all, keep an eye on unexpected or repeated disconnection of Wi-Fi, because attacker wants user to keep logging into their fake website, so that they can capture users information. Double check for strange addresses in your browser address bar. Be careful of what public or unsecure Wi-Fi you are connected to. Regular monitor your network activity. Use a network sniffer defensively and check for any malware in your system. We cannot totally prevent our system from any attacks, but there are various steps to protect our network from man in the middle attack. So first, try to join secure Wi-Fi. If possible, avoid public Wi-Fi. Connect to the HTTPS connection rather than HTTP, and constantly check for address bar. Employ DNS over HTTPS for more security level. Add VPN while using unsecure public Wi-Fi to encrypt traffic. Utilize a password manager. Use a multi-factor authentication techniques before starting any kind of communication. Monitor your network activity regularly so you can track any kind of unwanted activity on the network. Thank you.
Will explain you routing attacks. Routing attacks on Android systems are used to provide super user privileges to any Android-based system, which can be used for tasks such as removing system apps, changing apps permission settings, which can allow the apps to perform as system apps and access areas of system which are not allowed to them naturally. Then they can be used to change bloatware settings, which means be it fully disable system apps which were installed by the OEM, or they can be used to change something which is called bootloader settings, in which they can entirely help in changing the completely loaded operating system of the device, or can also be used in installing something called an expose framework, which can be used to modify apps or modify the UI design of the loaded operating system. And then how these are dangerous to mobile devices. It can be used to perform an attack called privilege escalation attack on the device, in which apps which are not required, which should not have privileges, are provided privileges such as root privileges to perform tasks or get access to data which they shouldn't, and can be used to transmit data and perform like a spyware on the user's device. How are these also very harmful in other methods? It opens up to the possibility of exploits being installed on the user's phone. Exploits such as it can be used to transmit data, it can be used as a recording device, it can be also used as a routing device, in which the customer or the user does not even know, but their device is being used for nefarious activities. Then side loads, which are usually the main purpose why routing is performed by, usually routing is done by developers to install and check their app's performance on multiple devices. But sometimes normal users also installs side loads using an ADB or Android Developer Bridge or Android Debug Bridge. During this side loading process, multiple times malware can be also installed on devices, because side loaded apps do not have the Play Store Protect certification, which is mandatory for the apps as of now. This can also cause data losses, which is in terms of malware can cause data losses, or their data on stored on customers' phone can be transmitted without their know-how. It also opens up the possibility for multiple various spywares to be installed on the device, such as Pegasus. We've all heard of Pegasus, how it can read our text message, read our calendar, how it can use the device using a single phone call, can root our device and use it as a listening device for us. So it opens up the possibility of spyware on our devices. How is an attack basically executed when a device is rooted already? When an application is executed, it executes using a zygote process, which is the initiation or parent process of the app, which initiates a system file called initrc, which is a Linux-based system file which helps in installing or copying all the application files on the current RAM memory of the phone. Then this app file, when this is installed, there is something called an exposed framework, which is used for code injection or code manipulation. Using this exposed framework, the apps can help, the malware can help in installing code which is not there on the apps already, or can change the call methods, which usually the apps call to perform their task, can be changed to other methods which they usually don't, and can be performed as used as listening devices or transmitting data or routing devices. Uh, Such applications or such usage is called custom code injection. This is the basic procedure how an Android attack is called. This is also termed as a privilege escalation attack, which I explained earlier. So, what are the possible solutions to avoid an Android attack? So usually nowadays, since the Play Store Protect Act has come, or not an act, it is an enforcement. When an app is installed using Play Store, it is usually sandbox, which means sandboxing is an application development process in which one app is in a container. So in that container, the app is not allowed to communicate or see the data of the app installed on the customer's phone. It can only see the data or apps from the only the apps through a bridge, which is allowed to see and pass the data of that app. Uh, other mitigation strategies are routing prevention education to people, and Also, making OEMs making sure that they have security patches installed on router devices as well. Thank you, and further my team will continue.
Hi, my name is Mohammed Talha. My student ID number is 137368893. Today I'll be talking about social engineering attacks. Social engineering is a term used for a broad range of malicious activities accomplished through human interaction. It uses psychological manipulation to trick users into making security mistakes or giving away sensitive information. In social engineering attack, the attacker manipulates user into giving information. To get the information, there are a number of phases. Initially, there are four phases. The first phase is to collect the information about the target. The second step is to develop a relation with the target. Moving on to the third point, it exploits the information and executes the attack. After getting the information, the attacker executes its plan and leave it with no traces. In social engineering attack, pinching attack is the most common attack that the attacker uses the practice of sending fraudulent communication that appears to be a reputable source. It can either be a text message or an email or any other reliable source. The main goal of the attacker is to steal the sensitive information like the data of the credit card or the login information so that he can install malware on the victim's machine. There are further five types of pinching attacks. Number one is the spear phishing. The second one is the whaling phishing. The third one is the wishing pinching. The fourth one is the interactive voice response pinching. And the last one is the business email compromising pinching. To avoid these attacks, there are a number of ways so we can detect the attack in advance. As it is a social attack, so we need to be vigilant and detect these attacks by looking at the following. If someone is creating a tremendous sense of urgency to make you to take a quick decision, be suspicious. If someone asking for the information that should not given access to should already know. If someone is telling any information and it is good to be true, such as if you are notified that you have won the lottery or even though you have never entered in the lottery. After detecting the social engineering attack, we can also prevent it and stop it. If you suspect you are being a victim of a social engineering attack, don't communicate with the person that is trying to manipulate you. If some person that you do not know of is trying to call you or trying to communicate with you, just hang up and don't reply. If some unknown person is trying to communicate through chatting or text message, just terminate the connection and do not reply to him. If some unknown person send you an email, check the email, verify it before you respond to it or any instruction that has been given that you need to follow. And do not trust that email and delete it immediately. If you suspect the attack is a work-related attack, report it right away to the higher authorities or the information security team right away so they can stop the attack on the system.